What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the airport. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are here and we are back talking about a brand new piece of news from last night's game against the Memphis Grizzlies. First of all, we got to, obviously credit to Heat for winning that game. Shout out to a lot of players. Bam, Kyle Lowry, Jaime Jaquez. I don't know. Those I think were the top three players in my opinion who really. Oh, Haywood Highsmith. How could I forget Haywood Highsmith? Haywood Highsmith looks really good, and he was a big reason why we won that game last night. But it was not the best game for the Heat as far as injury news is concerned, because Tyler Herro has sprained his ankle and he's going to be out for at least a couple of weeks, is what he said himself. And that is a big blow for this team. We were just starting to get back on track. We're on a 3-game winning streak. And the momentum was shifting, man. We started off the season rough, but we're for 500 now. We're in the playoffs. But to lose your leading scorer is tough, always, for any team. But especially this team, which doesn't have the offensive, talent or weapons in the regular season as a lot of these other teams do. So it's going to be tough, and we're going to be talking about how the Heat are going to fare without him, how they're going to be able to replace him. Can they replace him? How are they going to be able to make up the scoring? Because that's the main part. If you're losing a guy like Tyler Herro, you got to make up the points. But we're going to get right into that. So make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, comment down below. Go check out the Discord in the comment section. The description, not the comment section. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So yeah, obviously with Tyler Herro missing a couple of weeks, you're losing a 25 point per game scorer. And it's always tough to replace scoring, especially for this Heat team, which isn't the best offensive team or isn't the best scoring team. We're, very reliant on defense to win those games. Offense isn't really our strong suit. It hasn't been for a while. And losing your best 3-level scorer is always tough. But it's going to have to be by committee. Last night, I really liked a couple of things that are encouraging for me to see, how this Heat team can cope without, the loss of Herro. And a couple of things that I saw last night. Number one, Kyle Lowry, 17, 10, and 9, almost had a triple-double. I thought that was one of his best games in the Heat uniform. Listen, I'm not expecting Kyle to put up this stat line every night, but his offense, his numbers are going to have to increase for sure. We can't have him putting up 5 to 6 points a game. It has to be double digits. I'm just looking for 10 a game from Kyle. If I can see at least 10 points per night from Kyle Lowry, that'll make up a part of the scoring. Jimmy Butler, another part of the scoring. He's not really somebody who turns up in the regular season often. He'll coast through and he'll play well, but he's not going to be playing like playoff Jimmy, who's a top 10 player in the NBA. We need him to increase his scoring as well. Right now I think he's averaging about 18, 19. I'm gonna need him to go at about 22, 23. Without Tyler Herro, we need 4 to 5 more points from Jimmy, 4 to 5 more points from Kyle. That's 10 points right there that you're making up. Bam, listen, I thought Bam these last couple of games has been absolutely incredible against two players that are regarded as two of the best defensive bigs in the NBA, and Anthony Davis and Jaren Jackson Jr. Bam Adebayo has outplayed both of them. And it's actually, for his stock, it's looking really good for like Defensive Player of the Year stock, for All-Star stock, because these are against opponents that are, that are good opponents. Like Jaren Jackson was Defensive Player of the Year. Bam cooked him. Anthony Davis, I know, got hurt in the second half, but in the first half he was still getting outplayed by Bam. So listen, I just need Bam to do what he's doing. Now, obviously, I'm not going to expect him to put up 30 a night, but Bam should be averaging 20 points per game easily. So I think on any given night, Bam, Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler, the top 3 players on this team without Tyler Herro, are gonna have to pick up the scoring load, and it's gonna start off with the top players, the star players, the big contract, the big money players, and these 3 are the highest paid players on the team. Them 3 and Tyler, they're gonna have to make sure that they step up, and they pick up for the fact that we're losing 20 to 25 points of offense a single game for 2 weeks. So listen, it's gonna be tough. Not just these 3 players. I'm looking for the role players to step up. I think the addition of Caleb Martin is going to be very, very helpful. I don't know when he's going to be coming back, but we need him. We need him back because we're losing out on Tyler. Caleb is a very good scorer. He showed that last season in the playoffs. I'm not expecting him to do what he did in the playoffs, but I'm expecting him to put up at least 10 to 15 points a night. And I feel like that can really, really help this team offensively, which means if you're getting 10 points added on from Jimmy, Kyle, and Bam combined, and if you're getting 10 to 15 from Caleb, you're almost at 25, and you're almost, just doing the math, you're almost, by committee, kind of taking and replacing Tyler's 25 points by all of these players just stepping up their offensive games a little bit. I'm also looking for guys like Jaquez to take on a role, because Jaquez is going to be thrust into that, opportunity. He's going to be able to, he might even be in the starting lineup. Now, I don't know if he will be. I think it probably will be Duncan, but listen, Jaquez will have a lot of opportunity. He played really well last night in the fourth quarter. He had 8 out of his 11 points. He had an and one. He had a nice fast break layup, and he had a 3. Like, that 3 was big because that sealed the game. That was a dagger. So Jaquez is ready. He's a guy who's a 4-year UCLA veteran. He's played in big March Madness games. He was part of that team that lost to Jalen Suggs' Gonzaga, but that was a very good team. Last season, they were a good team. Listen, he's very experienced, man. I'm not surprised at all by Jaquez. A lot of people might be, but as a guy who's watched Jaquez since he was a freshman in college, Jaquez is ready. He's and it's not like he was like always the go-to guy at UCLA. Like, they had a very good team. Last season they had Amari Bailey. The year before they had Johnny Juzang. They've always had Tiger Campbell, who's been like a point guard for them. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, the Jaquez show. Like, Jaquez has had to get it in the mud. Like, it's his first season. He wasn't the go-to guy at all. And then Juzang transferred from Kentucky. Like, listen, Jaquez is very experienced. I'm super high on him. I think he's a very, very good, savvy rookie. And I think he's a guy who's going to grasp this opportunity because he's going to get a lot more playing time with Herro out. I'm looking for him to step up as well. So I think it's going to be, the onus is going to be on these players. Duncan Robinson is going to have to be extremely, extremely good from 3. Him and Herro are the 2 best shooters on this team. I'm looking for him and Highsmith now to continue shooting the ball well, because we need our 3-point percentage to stay afloat. We cannot have it drop because Herro's missing games. We need our guys to knock down their 3s. Kevin Love, if he plays, he might play, he might not play. If he plays, he needs to be knocking down his 3s. Kyle Lowry, same thing. But Duncan Robinson and Haywood Highsmith, they'll probably take the most 3s on this team without Herro. So these 2 are going to have to make sure that they're knocking their shots down. I thought Highsmith had an incredible game last night. I thought his defense was amazing, but I also thought his offense was really, really good. He had a possession where it was 3 seconds left on the clock, and he took a defender to the rim and did a little bit of a floater runner, and that was cash. Like, I've never seen that from Highsmith before, and his offensive game is just getting better and better. So we need Highsmith to make sure he's knocking down his 3s. Duncan, same thing. Duncan is going to be probably the one who's going to be thrust into the starting lineup without Tyler Herro. And obviously for spacing purposes, I think Spo is going to go with Duncan as a 2. We're going to need him to step up as well. One player who hasn't played well in so far in the season is Josh Richardson. Coming back to the Heat, I thought he's going to look a lot better than what he has been. And he just doesn't look that great at all. His shot is not falling, and he's just not, impacting the game that well offensively. Defensively, he's showing, that he's getting in his stance, he's putting in that effort defensively, but it doesn't matter if he can't, make his shots. People are just going to play off of him. So Jay Rich is going to have to step up, man. I love Jay Rich because he was Rook too. He was one of the guys who was the main focal points of this team after the big 3. It was Jay Rich. It was Jay Rich and Winslow and Bam, and we had that young core back then. And obviously Winslow is not in the league anymore, but Jay Rich is a guy that after being traded for Jimmy, he's been bouncing around team to team. And I thought coming back to the Heat, getting back into the system, getting back into this, development and coaching staff, I thought he was gonna kind of have like a rejuvenation, because he hasn't been like the best in San Antonio or Dallas. I thought he was pretty good on Philly, but I'm looking for Jay Rich to take a step up, because the way he's been playing in these last couple of games has not been good at all. I'm gonna keep it a buck, because I know we all love Jay Rich. He's a fan favorite. He's somebody who we've known, and since 2015, 2014, like Jay Rich has been a fan favorite for this team. And coming back, like, a lot of people had high expectations. Obviously, losing out on a couple of pieces like Vincent and Strus. Jay Rich was our big add in free agency, him and Jaquez. Because we didn't add anybody else. People were like, oh, maybe Josh Richardson can take a step. And we're really banking on him to do that because, you know, we just, you know, without Herro, we just don't have the scoring that a lot of teams do. You know, Butler is really our only consistent scorer. Bam, he's a guy who can definitely score 20 points a night, but again, he's not like a go-to guy offensively because he's a center. Like, you're not expecting him to score the ball at 3 levels. So I'm looking at Jay Rich off the bench to be that 6th man. I'm looking at him to just, you know, carry that bench role, that bench opportunity, and carry that bench unit. You know, it's going to be him, Jaquez, Caleb will probably be there, and then Thomas Bryant. I'm looking for Thomas Bryant to be active as well. Like, it's going to have to be by committee, which is why I'm bringing up all these names. But I'm looking at, in particular, I'm looking at the 3, you know, highest paid players on this team, Kyle, Jimmy, and Bam. You know, with Herro out, I'm looking at those 3 to kind of gradually uptick their scoring by 4 to 5 points each. Maybe not 4 to 5 for Bam, but definitely 4 to 5 for Kyle and Jimmy. I'm looking for that, you know, to increase, like, their averages to increase by 4 to 5. That might be too much, I don't know, but I don't think it's too much to ask Kyle to score 10 points a game. Like, that's something he should be doing. He just put up 17 last night. He can definitely get 10 if he wants to just shoot the ball. I'm looking for Caleb Martin to come back and play, you know, like a version like he did last season. I'm not expecting him to drop 20s a night like he did in the playoffs, but I'm expecting him to drop at least 10 to 15 a game. Jaquez, I'm expecting him to grab his opportunity and his scoring to increase as well. And then Josh Richardson. So I think these group of players are going to have to be, you know, Josh Richardson and Duncan. Sorry, I forgot about Duncan because Duncan is going to probably be the starting shooting guard without Tyler. So both of them are going to have to step up too. So these players, it's going to have to be by committee, obviously, but these players, I'm looking individually for them to just grasp this opportunity. It's going to be, if Duncan does get the starting spot, it's going to be about two years, I think, since he's been a starter for this team. And we all know how good he was as a starter in the bubble. Like, I'm looking for Duncan. I think he could get back to that form, man, where he's just knocking down all his threes, because that shooting is going to be a very, very big, you know, piece that we're going to have to fill the void of without Tyler, because Tyler is one of the best shooters in the league. Obviously, he's not just a shooter, but he was one of the reasons our three-point percentage was top 5 this season. So we can't let that slip without him. We need Duncan. We need Highsmith. We need a lot of people like that to help sustain that percentage. So, yeah, that's going to be, you know, basically kind of like a overview of how the Heat can stay afloat without Herro. Now, obviously, you know, I'm not expecting them to be like a juggernaut offensively without him, because he was one of the best, you know, offensive players in the league this season. But it's going to have to be by committee. It's going to have to be, you know, a lot of individual players grabbing their moments and stepping up for the team. We're going to see what Spo does. Now, our next game is not until Saturday, so we have some time before we play our next game against Atlanta, which I think is an in-season tournament game. So I'm super excited for that. I will be doing a preview for that tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to be wrapping that up here, man. Make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section below how you think that he can stay afloat without Herro. And yeah, I'll see you later as always. Peace.